I can't stress how important this stuff is to the future of your music business. I've found myself saying this again and again, but if someone had laid out a system like this for me when I was still performing, my success would have been 5 or even 10 times what it was at the time. So anyway, I'm going to be covering the 5 steps involved in creating an effective sales funnel for your music business. And when you put this into play, your entire concept of what it takes to make money in this business is really going to change in some dramatic ways. Now, before we begin, I just want to say that what I'm about to show you is only going to work if you put it into play and take action. I say it all the time and still see a lot of musicians drop the ball on this. No action equals no success. So it's really on you to put out the efforts and make this system work for you, all right? Cool. Now let's get down to biz. Alright, the first step in systematizing your sales funnel is getting traffic to your squeeze page. Now, I talked briefly about what a squeeze page is in the intro to this presentation, and I'll go into it in a bit more depth in just a minute. But for now, I want you to understand that your sole purpose with everything you do in this system is to drive traffic to your squeeze page. So how do you go about doing that? Well, first, you need to really understand what it is your fans like about you, because what they like about you is what you're going to use to entice them to take action on your traffic generation efforts. For instance, do you sound like Jay-Z or are you more like Immortal Technique? Because these are two very different hip-hop cats, and fans of one may not necessarily be fans of the other. And this can work in the rock genre or the techno or pop or even jazz genres as well. Another example might be a band like Daughtry versus a band like Bullet for My Valentine. Both rock-based, but very different in style. So understanding what your fans like about you becomes extremely important. Now, there's no point wasting time trying to entice fans of a different genre of music because ultimately they're probably not going to end up buying your stuff, which is really what all this work you're going to be doing is all about, right? So knowing who your fan is and who they compare you to is essential to this part of the process. Now, once you've done your homework and you have a general idea of who it is your fan is and who they would compare your music to if someone asked them, well, now it's time to get working on creating a list of keywords that relate to your fans' search patterns. So what do I mean by this? Well, you're probably familiar with your own search patterns, so let's start there. Think of your own band's music genre. If you had to go online and look for your style of music, what would you enter into the search engine? I mean, what kind of words would you start with? Would it be heavy metal in Boston or hip hop in Rochester, New York? Or would you be more broad in your searching and just enter heavy metal bands? Now, broad searches are obviously going to bring a lot more results, and this might be okay if you're touring across the country, but let's assume you're not at this point and that you'll stick with a local or even a regional area for now. So let's say your band is based in Connecticut and you play rockabilly music. Well, chances are that if you're looking for some gigs to go out and check out in your area, you're going to enter rockabilly Connecticut bands or Connecticut rockabilly bands or even Connecticut rockabilly music. Now, I could go on with some more examples, but I think you get the gist of how someone would be searching for your style of music in your area. What the people searching for your type of music are actually entering into these search engines like Google and Bing and Yahoo are called keywords. And keywords are going to become your best friend and an important part of your sales funnel system. The more time you spend on figuring out what keywords work best to find your stuff, the more people you're going to end up drawing into your sales funnel. So this section needs a really good chunk of your attention. Now, what I want you to do is to think of at least 10 keywords that fans of your style of music would enter into a search engine, and I want you to write them down. Pause this video if you have to, but make sure that you get those 10 keywords figured out because this is essential to a successful sales funnel. So I don't want you going about skipping this part and just randomly moving on through the video. I want you to actually take the time out and get those 10 keywords down. So once you pause the video, go ahead and do that right now and get those 10 keywords figured out for your band and what your fans would be searching for, and then come back and join me again after you've got those 10 keywords down, okay? Alright, so you got the 10 keywords to work with, and now you're ready to push on to step 2 in the process. You did take the time out to put down those 10 keywords, right? If not, I'm coming for you. No, but seriously, all the steps involved in this system are really important for your success, and I care about you making something happen in your music career, so make sure you take the time to get this done and get it done properly, alright? Cool. So like I said, you're ready to move on to step 2. You've got 10 keywords. Now what do you do with them? Well, I'm fairly confident that you've heard of YouTube, maybe even Vimeo, and possibly even TubeMogul. I'm a little less confident that you've heard of ezinearticles.com, but hey, I've been wrong at times and maybe you're already a member there. Anyway, what you're going to do now is create some great content that includes these 10 keywords that you've written down, and every bit of content that you create needs to incorporate at the very least 3 of those keywords every single time you put your content out. Now, what do I mean by content? Well, as an artist, you're probably already having folks videotape your shows, and maybe you're doing video of yourselves joking around on your way to gigs and on your tours, and this can be considered content. What I want you to do from now on, whenever you upload your video to any of the sites that I mentioned before, is to write a little more than, "This is our band, Joe Soap, live at the Foxy Lounge." That's just not enough to pull your video into any of your fans' search options. You've got to incorporate, like I said, at the very least 3 of your keywords. So you'll want it to read more like, "Joe Soap of New Haven, Connecticut gets down at the Foxy Lounge. Check out their live music reminiscent of Daughtry and Bullet for My Valentine. For more information and free music downloads, visit www.joesoap.com right now." So can you see what I've done here? I've not only added more life to my video story, but I've addressed my captions directly to my audience. Now, I know Daughtry and Bullet for My Valentine probably don't belong together in the same genre, but I used them before as examples, so for the sake of simplicity, I just threw them back together in my example. But you, of course, will have your own keywords to work with. Anyway, you can pick out the keywords that I've included. I've got the band name Joe Soap, the city New Haven, the state Connecticut, the club Foxy Lounge, bands they sound like Daughtry and Bullet for My Valentine, and I finished it off with a call to action to get some music downloads for free. And I'm going to be discussing call to actions in more detail in a bit, but for now, I want you to really understand how I've incorporated all the elements necessary for my video to be found by my fans searching for my keywords. Plus, once they've found it, I've told them how to get more of the band for free and where they can go to get it. So keeping in line with this example, you can see how powerful your keyword list is going to become for you as you get better at this and you start to put out more content. And every time you put out your content, I want you to follow the same formula. At least 3 of your keywords in every single piece that you publish. Okay, so you've got these cool videos with great captions and detail happening, but you need to create some link juice, right? Well, now you've got to make sure that you're not only publishing your videos on YouTube, but you've got to get them out to all the video sites you possibly can, and TubeMogul is a great place for you to do this. They've changed things a bit since I last checked, but they still allow you in with a free account and offer at least 4 to 6 different video distribution channels to send out your videos all at once to. Now, the reason why you want your videos in as many locations as possible is because each point of contact allows you to direct more of your fans who find you down into your sales funnel, which is the point of creating all of this great content. But videos aren't the only way you can make this happen. I mentioned ezine articles a little earlier, and I want to get back to that now because this is something that I think you can really benefit from in some big ways. Now, you've heard me mention link juice, and this isn't a course on SEO, so I'm not going to go into it too deeply, but you should at least have a basic understanding of what it is. Now, link juice is when you have a lot of links coming back to your website, and this could be your squeeze page or your band website. It doesn't really matter. The point is that when Google or Yahoo see that a lot of websites have linked back to you, your site starts to become more important to them. And this is a really simplified version of SEO and by no means covers all the steps of what's really involved in getting yourself ranked. But the more important and relevant your site is to the search engines, ultimately, the higher your site's going to rate, which is what you want to happen in the long run. Now back to ezinearticles.com. This is a site that allows you to create an account for free and then lets you post articles and reviews that you've written up for the world to read and for others to share on their own blogs and websites. And what's cool about this is that Ezine Articles already ranks very high in the search engine's ranking systems. And as a result, your articles that you put out there latch on to that high ranking, which then gives the links inside your article and that are directed to your landing page much more relevance. Now, I can hear you thinking, right? He wants me to write? Well, yes and no. Let me ask you something. Can you speak into a phone? Yep, you're probably nodding your head. Of course you can. So think about writing just like you'd be speaking into a phone, or better yet, why not interview all the bands in your local region? Record them, ask relevant questions like what they're doing to find success or how they reward their fans who come out to support them. And by doing something as simple as this, you've just created some great content for your listeners and your fans. Take your interviews and have them transcribed somewhere like scriber.com, and presto, you've got 10 interviews, and you've not only created 10 great articles, but you've also started your own podcast, and all this adds up to some great content for you. And that's what this second step is really all about. Creating great content and loading it onto sites that can not only help you raise your website or landing page higher in the rank of online importance, but also to help you reach your audience and constantly funnel traffic into your music sales system. Okay, so we covered step 1, where we discussed how important it was for you to really know your fans and who they'd like besides you so you can link your content up to their interests. We also talked about how you need at least 10 keywords that you can use in any and all of your content so you can be found by your target audience when they hit the web and start their searches for your stuff, or more likely, stuff that they like that you happen to sound like. And this is where the importance of knowing what your band sounds like comes into play. Then we talked for quite some time on creating some great content, so I'm not going to go into too much deeper detail than that. Just keep in mind that the better your content is and the closer it matches your target fans' interests, the more likely they're going to find the stuff you're putting online and eventually make their way into your sales funnel. Cool, right? All right, now like I said earlier, we're getting into another important step in this sales funnel process, and that's what to do when your potential fan finds their way onto your great content. Well, I went over this briefly back in step 1 when I showed you how you should be wording your uploaded video posts, and now I just want to go into this process in a little more detail so you really get why it is you're doing these things. See, I don't want you to just watch this video and follow along blindly to what I'm saying. I really want you to understand why you're out there doing the things that I'm asking you to do. It's really important that you really get it because I care about your success, so understanding the process will help it become much clearer for you. Okay, so you've gone out, you've done your homework, and you've created all this great content, and now you've got a bunch of fans heading on over to your squeeze page, right? You got to find some creative ways to get them to sign up for your stuff, and it's got to be free, but it's also got to have great value. Now, valuable is the key element here. If you're offering them scraps, you're not going to make that all-important first impression, which is going to be essential to your long-term relationship with your new fan. If they found you because you wrote an article on Jimi Hendrix because, hey, that's what you and your band sound like, then whatever you offer them when they find you and land on your squeeze page had better come close to being as good as something Jimmy would have given them. Otherwise, they're not going to take you up on your offer, and they probably won't give you a second chance if they see something you try to offer them in the future. Your first impression is absolutely key. This is just like the first time you meet the girl or the guy of your dreams. You don't want to blow what might be your one and only opportunity, so you gotta knock their socks off with your charm and your generosity. Believe me, you're going to be very thankful that you do. Now, I know you may not be a web designer, but don't worry. I'm having a squeeze page designed just for you, so all you'll have to do is plug in a MailChimp autoresponder ID, tweak the sales copy, and load it up onto your WordPress website, and you'll be ready to put this stuff into action. But that's not going to be ready at least until the next video in this series, and then I'll get it up and online for you or send out an email to you so you can get your hands on that. Anyway, you've got your ideal fan sitting on your landing page, and they're reading about all the great stuff that you're offering them, and all they have to do is enter their name and email address, and it's theirs free right now. If you can get 10 out of every 100 visitors to sign on to your list, you're going to be well on your way to the successful sales funnel you really have to have in your music marketing arsenal. And once this is in place, you need to test different offers to see which one attracts more fans onto your list. Testing is key. Those who test their success rates find they make a ton more money than those who set and forget. Just think, if MP3s for download bring you a higher return and more signups than, say, Insider's Access, then it's a no-brainer. Offer them MP3 downloads all day and all year long. Whatever works is what you stick with until something works better. And I'll talk more about testing a little later, but just know that it's really important for you to know what's working in the system so you can apply more of it more often. An increase of even 2 more subscribers each and every month can really add to your earnings in some big ways later on in your music sales funnel. And once you've got this system in motion, keep working on it. Work on it consistently. Like I talked about in step 1, post some new content online 2 times a week. And if that's too much for you, then make it at least once. Get at least 1 article, video, or review posted online each and every week. It'll add up long term and keep your sales funnel busy for a long time to come. Okay, so you've got your keywords your fans are searching with, and you're creating great content that's going to interest them and that they can find you with. Now the fun begins. Relationships. And yes, that's what your communication between you and your fans is. A relationship. And you've got to work hard at keeping them happy, because if you don't, there's someone out there willing to fill the void. But if you keep sending them valuable content, and not only your stuff, but anything that would interest you and them as well, you'll build that rapport easily. I mean, heck, you've become friends now. They dig your music, and you should like the fact that they do dig your music, because that's a match made in bliss, right? So if you're floating the web and you come across a great article related to your music and your music genre, chances are your fans are going to dig it too. So send them the link and tell them to check it out. Support your email blasts out to your list with some updates on Twitter and Facebook, which of course include a link back to your squeeze page, and bam, you're putting your system into action and you're rocking a ton of great stuff to your fans, and they'll be digging just how cool you really are. They'll begin to trust and like you more because, hey, you understand them and like the same things they do. And this is really important because it's essential that you don't bombard your fans with requests to buy your stuff week after week. It gets tiresome and no one wants to be marketed to all the time. So don't be that person. And I mean that. Some bands and artists think that if they ask more often, that eventually their fans will make a purchase. Nope, the exact opposite starts to happen. They get turned off and don't want to hear from you anymore. But when you're acting like one of the guys or one of the girls and keep sending them your links to free content, and again, it can be yours or anyone else's free content that really resonates with them, the odd time that you do send a package deal for your albums and your merchandise or try to get them to come out to your gigs, they're going to remember that you're a band and the request will resonate with them on a deeper level. Hey, you're cool. You send them to some great videos and articles about things they're always interested in, and they really dig your music. So why not buy a t-shirt or your vinyl or CDs or whatever it is you offer them on occasion? Let's face it, this is the whole point of creating your music sales funnel, right? To make money, which takes us into step number 5. Asking for the sale. Now, if you don't ever ask for the sale, you're never going to get it. So you do have to ask them to take action every now and again. Just make sure it's not in every message you send. A general rule, and by no means is this set in stone for you. You'll have to do your own testing to see what works best. But studies have found that consumers, and that would be your fans or your customers, need to hear from you at least 7 times before they'll consider buying from you. It's got something to do with getting to know, like, and trust you. So I'd shoot for 7 messages without so much as a whiffle of a sales pitch. And on your 8th message, drop something like, I hope you've been enjoying all this great news and video links that I've been sending you. Here's another one that I came across today, and give them a link to something cool you found that week. And then as you close out your message, end off with something like, oh, by the way, I've just released my latest album, and as a valued Joe Soap subscriber, I'm offering you a chance to get it for less than the general public. And put a package together that you're not offering to anyone else but those on your list, or something similar that you've put together specifically for them. So again, you've provided them with yet another cool bit of content. And then to close out, you're asking for that call to action. Now again, although this will work very well for you, you can do it in different ways, but I want you to test, and test again to determine what your fans like best and what they prefer to see coming to their inbox, and then I want you to run with it. And then test some more, and if you find something that works better, run with that. Then after the email has gone out, make the next one you send some more great stuff and start that relationship bonding process all over again until you come to your next email offer. Now, if you can get 1 out of every 100 of your subscribers to take action on your offers, you can really start to add to your touring and your performance income and put down a really strong foundation for your online marketing machine, slowly building and making you money while you sleep again and again and again. And remember, this works for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Now, how cool is that? Okay, so we've covered the 5 basic steps you'll need to put in place to create your 24/7 music sales funnel, working while you sleep, gig, or even restring your guitar, right? Cool. But I didn't want to leave you with just the 5 steps and not give you just a little something more. Now, it's all fine and dandy if you get your sales funnel in place and you do what most musicians and businesses do. You set it and you forget about it. Even doing something like that, the bare minimum of what I've just shown you, will have you gaining new fans like crazy. But I'm guessing that you really want to go big time and build a huge following of your very own music lovers who really dig your stuff and are just waiting for your next message no matter what you're sending them, whether it's just some cool free stuff or something you're offering for sale. And to do this, you need to really ramp up this process. But the only way you can really scale this puppy up is if you do your testing. I mentioned testing in both steps 3 and 4, and it's because it's really that important. It can make the difference between 100 new fans per year and 1,000. Yes, that is a really big deal for you, right? So testing is what really separates the chumps from the champs, and it leads you to higher and higher music sales year in and year out. So I'll say it again: test, test, and then go back and test some more. Find what works best and do more of it. If fans dig video from you more than articles, then do more videos than articles. You'll still want to do both because they each have their place, but if you find your subscribers click through to see your video links or messages more than your article links, then find them some more video and just keep them happy. If 5 song downloads makes them sign up more than 9 song downloads, then heck, go ahead and give them only 5. My point is, don't assume that you know what works best or what your fans really want. Test and tweak constantly to provide exactly what they want more often, and you'll build your list faster. And as a result, you'll sell more of your stuff more often. It's time to stop trying to manage an old played out music business model that has you creating songs and videos and albums that you offer to your fans for sale again and again and again, thinking that by creating more products to buy and telling them about them constantly will eventually entice them to buy your goods. Some of them will respond, but most are just going to be turned off if you try using this archaic approach. So again, be a giver. Give them great content to both your and other people's articles, music reviews, videos, blog posts, or whatever interests both you and your fans, and watch your relationship with your fans grow into something special, all while increasing your take-home pay year in and year out. Now I'm going to send you back live and give you some more information on how you can access the next video, where I'm going to go more in depth into the list building piece of your music sales funnel, and I'll walk you live through the process of actually setting up a list and starting a campaign, and how to create a series of messages that can be sent out 24/7 all year long to each and every one of your new fans who take action and subscribe to your list. Now, believe me, once you get this piece of the sales funnel in place, you're going to be laughing at how easy it is to implement, and more importantly, how effectively it works for you. So we'll talk soon.